If you're an athlete or you enjoy sports or other physical skills challenges, then you've likely experienced that magical state of being in the zone where you feel almost invincible, as though the whole game is slowed down and where everything around you just falls silent. And you have this incredible laser-like focus on your goal. The question is, how do you enter this state, especially when you need it the most? That's what we're going to take a look at today. Coming up.
Look at his practice swing. Almost like it's searching for something. Then he finds it. Watch how he settle himself right into the middle of it. Feel that focus. And he got a lot of shots he could choose from. Duffs and tops and skulls. There's only one shot that's in perfect harmony with the field. One shot that's his. Authentic shot. And that shot is going to choose him. There's a perfect shot out there trying to find each and every one of us. All we got to do is get ourselves out of its way. Let it choose us. Look at him. He in the field. You can't see that flag as some dragon you got to slay. You have to look with soft eyes. See the place where the tides and the seasons and the turning of the earth all come together. Where everything that is becomes one. And you got to seek that place with your soul, Junior.
That clip we just watched came from a wonderful movie called The Legend of Bagger Vance. If you get a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. And by the way, my name is Kris Dillard, and on this channel, we're here to practice how to set clear goals, remove all the blocks that are in the way, so you can achieve more success and feel happier while you're doing it. And if you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and bring out your inner awesomeness. Today, I'm going to show you what it means to be in the zone and how to use it to improve your game or anything else that you're doing in life. So, first of all, what is the zone? That's a good question. And it's a tough thing to describe because you can't put any direct words to it. In the movie, Will Smith's character describes it as looking with soft eyes, becoming aware of everything around you. See, being in the zone is an experience. Putting words to it is like trying to describe what an orange tastes like. No matter what words I choose to use, nothing compares to you picking up an orange and tasting it for yourself. Therefore, what I'm going to do is take you through that experience and show you how you can take a few practical skills I'm going to show you and use them to drop into the zone whenever you want. Now, before we do that though, I want to cover some of the benefits of being in the zone. All right? So number one, you get out of your own head. This is perhaps the biggest killer to performance. That's why in American football, for example, when a field goal kicker is about to score a game-winning goal, the opposing team will often call a timeout to ice that kicker. That's because the more he thinks about it, the more likely he is to mess up the shot. Now, I'm going to show you how you don't even need your head or your mind at all. And number two, when you're in this state, Your reaction time and your decision making becomes 100 times faster. That's because you're operating from your intuition rather than your mind. So without even thinking about it, you'll see an opportunity to score. Even if it's passing to a teammate, you immediately act without hesitation. And this is where time seems to slow down and you feel like you're in complete charge over the whole field. Now, number 3, when you're in this state, it feels like you're floating on air. Everything is just effortless. And the experience is extremely positive, extremely satisfying, and blissful. Now, let's look at something that I've been pointing out here. Getting out of your head. Now, for some of us, this is an unusual concept because we've grown up to rely on our thinking mind. The truth is, the mind isn't our friend. In fact, it's our greatest enemy. Now, let's just take a moment and observe just how the mind works for a moment here. Now, what I want to do is just take a moment first to quiet the mind. Very easily, very simply. Just follow along here. Now, just in this moment right now, notice your breath. Just observe your breath. Observe yourself breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. Just breathing normally, but with awareness now. Just notice the sensation as the air moves past your lips, down your throat, filling up your lungs. And feel your shoulders, how they move and expand with your breath, how your chest expands. And notice the sensation of the clothes moving across your skin as you're breathing in and breathing out. And just observe yourself breathing in and breathing out. And breathing in and breathing out. And in and out. And in and out. And notice now. Just right now. And now. And now. And now. And even now. And notice the more you just observe your breath in this present moment and now, how your mind just gets quieter. And notice it feels a bit nicer as the mind gets quieter. Now let's observe the mind for a moment and observe what is the mind. It's just a sound, this little voice that plays in our head. And sometimes it says nice things, most of the time not so nice. Like, when we are doing what we're doing in sports, when we're practicing, when we're playing, and we mess up. We go for a shot and we screw it up big time. What does our mind do? It gets us to beat ourselves up, to be down on ourselves. We get frustrated. And when it's our turn to take another shot again, are we in the present moment? No. We're listening to our mind, which has us stuck back on a previous moment, still complaining about it. And therefore, we're not present to take the next shot. We mess that up and then we beat ourselves up even more. And just notice how the mind, how it loves to jump on you. It loves to get you negative. You notice that? This is how the mind talks to you. Now here's the good question is, who said you had to listen to it? After all, where did that mind come from? Who gave it to you? It belongs to you. You're the owner. So when it's complaining and it's stuck on the past, who said that you had to go there with it? You are the boss. You are the owner. And as you're sitting here, just observing your breath, notice how that mind's getting a little bit quieter and you're feeling a bit more spacious and a bit more calm, a bit more positive even. Now, this is the real you that's showing up, this nice, quiet, calm, spacious, positive feeling. This is you, the real you who is emerging as the mind is getting quieter. And this part of you has no limitation. It is extremely powerful. This is a part of you that when you get into the zone and you just play brilliantly, like better than you ever even practiced, it's just, where did that come from? You know what I mean? This is the real you that's showing up. And it's so effortless because it's just you. All right? So, how do we get this to come out more? Well, we got to just erase that mind, erase all that negativity that's in the mind. And that mind has a bunch of negativity that's covering up this incredible, powerful self inside of us. And it's covered up by a whole bunch of feelings, a bunch of noise and chatter. And those two, they belong to us. We are the owner of all of our feelings, all of the stuff that we're fighting with a lot of times in our life, including doing what we're doing. So let me show you how to erase that stuff so that this part of you just comes out easily all the time. So think about an aspect of your game that isn't working for you so well. Maybe something that you've been practicing and you just hadn't got the hang of it. You hadn't really perfected it or, gotten to the place where you're happy with it. Or maybe it's something you used to be good at, and then now it's like, I can't do that. I used to make those shots. I used to be able to run and do it in a certain time. Now I can't do it. What's wrong with me? I used to be able to do that so easily. Now I'm totally disconnected from my game. All right? Maybe you have an experience like that. So just think about something that's in your game that is frustrating you. All right? Now, when you think about this, get in touch with that frustration and welcome up that frustration. Just notice it. It's kind of, like an icky feeling, a little bit blah, but just notice it. And now measure this frustration. Measure it on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being the most frustrated, 0 being the least frustrated. No frustration at all. Just measure wherever you're at. And as you measure it, you may be at a 2, you may be at a 6, you may be at a 15. But just notice what that number is. Make a note of it. And notice how when this frustration comes up, you don't like the frustration. In fact, you want to fight with it. You want to get it out of there because, it's interfering with you, right? And it doesn't feel good. So basically, when this frustration emerges, you don't like it, and you're saying no to the frustration, right? Now, when you say no to the frustration, does that make the frustration go away? No, absolutely not. It just gets you more frustrated, gets you into beating yourself up, wanting to throw stuff around, make a whole big temper tantrum sometimes. I know I used to do that all the time. So when you say no, that frustration doesn't go anywhere. So we got to do something completely different since that doesn't work. All right? Are you willing to do something different? All right, so just follow along. Now, look at that frustration, whether it's at a 2, a 5, a 15. Just look at that frustration. Just look at it. It's just a feeling. It's just a number that you're looking at. You put a number to it. look at it and just say yes to that frustration. Try it out. Just say yes to it. And say yes to that frustration even more. And say yes to it even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And even more. And say yes to that frustration a little bit more. And a little bit more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And just say yes to it even more. And say yes to that frustration even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And even more. And say yes to it even more. And even more. And even more. Now, measure yourself again on a scale of 0 to 10, or whatever. Just measure yourself once again and see where you're at now. See if you moved. See if that number went down, even if it's just 1 or 2 points. Notice a difference? All right? See, now you're proving to yourself that you can let go of the frustration. You don't have to fight with it. You don't have to try to shove it back down. That just suppresses it. And it's got to come up somehow. And it's going to, if it doesn't come up now, you don't let it go, it's going to come up again and again and again until you let it go. But see, what you just did was the beginning of letting it go. All right? So now let's take it a step further. See, we got some momentum going. Now, welcome up some more of that frustration. Let go of pushing down on it. Just let it come up. Allow it to arise. And just open up an imaginary window or door, whatever that looks like to you. Just imagine a door opening right in front of you and just imagine all this frustration going right on out the door. Just imagine it leaving. Just see it as energy passing through. And allow that frustration to leave even more. And even more. And even more. And even more. And welcome up some more. See, we got some momentum going. Welcome up some more. See, the energy's moving. Just open up, wide open. Just allow that energy to pass through. It's just energy. It's not good. It's not bad. Just energy passing through. And watch it leave even more. Just like when you're observing your breath, you're just watching. And notice how it just moves through all on its own. That's because these feelings, like frustration, tension, anxiety, all these negative feelings, fear, they don't belong suppressed. And most of us, we're suppressed in our feelings, pushing them down. And they're pushing up because they want to leave. So now, notice you're just letting it leave. So just watch it leave even more. And 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 notice how you feel now. And measure yourself again on a scale of 0 to 10. See if you're even lower, maybe even down close to 0. Now, if there's any remaining frustration left, this might sound silly, But try this out. Look at that remaining frustration and say to it, frustration, I love you. I know it sounds silly, but try it. Frustration, I love you. I really, really love you. I just love you unconditionally. I love you if you stay. I love you if you leave. I love you either way. I love you. And notice how you feel now. Lighter, right? All we're doing is we're just looking for a lighter feeling. This is proving that you can let these feelings go. Now, what if you got frustrated with how you're performing? Like if you missed a shot or your game just isn't working for you, and you feel that frustration, all that tension, and just getting down on yourself. What if this could just relieve that immediately, right on the spot? See, notice how simple this is. You could do this right in the game, right in when you're doing what you're doing. And notice how this leaves you more in the moment. Now you're ready for the next shot. You're not worried about the past. You're fresh in the present moment. Now this is just the beginning. And let's try it again, all right? Just for good measure here. All right, so maybe think about showing up for an important match. And maybe there's a lot on the line. Maybe it's for a championship, something like that. And before the game is started, you feel that anxiety. You know, that performance anxiety, maybe a little bit of stage fright, just anxiety, right? And again, that's just a feeling. So get in touch with that. Just imagine being ready to play a big game. And get in touch with that anxiety. Now again, measure that anxiety on a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being the most anxious and 0 being not anxious at all. And whatever anxiety you can get in touch with right now, see, just thinking about it, it can bring it up. And wherever you're at, whatever number that is, just look at that anxiety and say yes to that anxiety. And say yes to it even more. And say yes to it even more. And 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 say yes to that anxiety even more. And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel. See if that number went down a few notches. All right? So if there's any remaining anxiety, again, let go pushing down on it. Just allow it to arise. And open up that imaginary door. Imagine that energy just going right on out the door, whatever that looks like to you. There's no wrong way to do this. It's your picture. So if it looks like light, looks like energy, looks like smoke, that's fine. Just watch it move on through. Watch it leave. And even more. 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 And notice how you feel now. Now let's do one more thing. Check this out. You're really going to love this. Now think about really messing up in what you're doing. Take a shot. It's just totally bad. It's just like an air ball. You miss it. Notice how that tendency comes in to want to beat yourself up. Oh my God, look at what I just did. How can I be so stupid? Why didn't I just wait to take a better shot? Why did I do that? Right? And notice how when you get stuck in beating yourself up, you're totally out of the game because you're now stuck in the past, in that shot that you missed. So just think about maybe a time when this happened to you, beating yourself up. Maybe you're still beating yourself up about it, even though it may have happened weeks ago, months ago, years ago. You're still like, oh God, I still want to change it. But here's the thing, you can't change it. It's in the past. But what you can change is how you feel about it, right? So, notice that disapproving of yourself. And how does it help you to disapprove of yourself? It doesn't, does it? And who's doing it? You're doing it, right? You're the one who's beating yourself up. You're the one who's disapproving of yourself. And if that's not working for you, if that doesn't get you a positive result, which obviously it doesn't, then it's silly to keep doing that, especially if you're doing it. And if you're doing it, now you can make a decision. I'm going to be positive and love myself, or I'm going to be negative and beat myself up. What do you decide? I'm assuming you're deciding to be positive. So, could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And this is just a simple yes or no. It's a decision now. That's it. It's not complicated. Yes or no. Could you let go of disapproving of yourself? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself a little bit more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. 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 And could you let go of disapproving of yourself even more? And even more. And even more. And notice how you feel now. A little bit lighter? Now, see, that's showing we're moving in the right direction. Now let's take it a step further. Could you give yourself some approval? No reason, just because. Could you like yourself anyway, even if you screwed up? See, positive doesn't hurt anything. Could you give yourself some approval? Yes or no? And could you give yourself some more approval? And could you give yourself a little bit more approval? And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And a little bit more. And even more. And notice how you feel now. A bit lighter, right? And notice if it feels more possible to get it right now. Just notice that. See if it's more in a positive space where you're at now. And see, this is what you're doing, is you're taking yourself out of the past, bringing yourself back into the present. And you're doing it with love. And see, love is the answer. And love is really synonymous with now. And this is all about being in the zone. So it's just being in the now, being loving, really loving, unconditionally loving. That's why when you get into the zone, it just feels light, it feels effortless, it feels positive. It feels like the right thing. And it feels like you're unlimited. That's because you are. That's because the real you is showing up. So this is where everything happens, in the now. And when you're in the now, You're not thinking of what happened a moment ago. And you're not even thinking about what will happen in the future. You're not thinking about the trophy you're going to win, anything like that. You're just in this moment. Focus on what is required right now. And this is the best place to be, whether in sports or in life. Now, if you resonate with what I'm showing you here, here's what I propose. First, subscribe to this channel, because everything that we do here is about being in the now, being successful, and doing it through love. Now, if this doesn't resonate with you, then don't. That's okay. This isn't for everyone. But I will promise you this. If you keep coming back here, you'll find yourself getting quieter, getting happier inside, as well as more powerful and more successful outside. And if you want to jump in even deeper, check out the courses and retreats I offer, like the Be Your Own Boss course. It's about removing bad habits and self-sabotage programs so that you're free to meet all the challenges and opportunities in life with courage, with confidence, and with ease. And so your real power comes out and you can accomplish your dreams and live out your destiny. So thank you for being with me here today, and I'll see you soon.